I said, I can give you the number. I have no problem giving you the numbers. That's totally fine. I said, but you understand, right? If that's going to be the value you're operating off of without me actually having a conversation and we figure out if that's actually my lines for you. I was like, I'm willing to do it. I'll tell you right now. I said, or do you want to see what the actual value looks like? And again, open-minded individual was like, you know what? He's like, you're right. You're right. He goes, we'll talk about the numbers later. He goes, let me see if it's something I even actually want to get into.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Closers Network podcast. Guys, the only podcast you want to be listening to if you're looking to add more value to your life in the world of remote high-ticket sales. I'm excited today because I got a returning guest. He's known as Mr. Fox by many. He's known as Chubbs by a few. And he's known as Christian by a select few. But that being said, guys, please help me welcome back to the podcast, Christian Urbina. Christian, what's up, man?
What's going on, Mike? How are we doing today?
I am doing well, man. I'm doing well. How is everything on your end?
It's good, man. It was a great day. Went to church, went and watched my son play some basketball. We dominated. Well, actually, we lost, but he did really, really good today. So that was really cool.
Nice. He dominated, but the team lost?
We lost by 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah, close game. Close game. All right, that's good. That's good. Well, sweet, man. I appreciate you making the time. So what I wanted to dive into today, and something that we'll do continuously throughout the coming weeks together and with some other people on the team is really talk about a specific topic that could be beneficial for our listener. And one topic that I thought about that comes up a lot is, hey, Mike, Christian, do I give price if price is asked up front, right? And I got my thoughts on that, but I wanted to start off with you, man. And, you know, we can definitely stay on this topic here for as long as it takes. But yeah, and we could be here for hours on this topic. But that being said, let's give the skinny version. Let's deliver a lot of value. And what are your thoughts, man? If somebody jumps on a call and is like, hey, I'm just interested in getting the price, like how would Christian handle a situation like that?
So that's a great question, Mike. And the longer I've been in sales, like I feel like people are just kind of hip to things. And I also think it depends on the context of the sales, right? So like, for example, I would say in a traditional role where somebody's coming on and they're wanting to learn about something, right? Whether it's an affiliate marketing offer, it's an e-commerce offer, that's one that I would think you would probably withhold price, right? And kind of wait till the end. 'Cause to your point, right? No value, then the price is going to be what the value is actually established at. That's the bar. And in which case, when people get no thanks, right? I just actually did a coaching call kind of talking about looping in regards to external and internal, right? And we're talking about actually the value. And Rich has a comment. He's like, dude, he's like, if the value exceeds the price is irrelevant, right? It doesn't matter how much something costs, right? Meaning, if I said, hey, Mike, you know, I got this $10,000 Ferrari, right? Even if you don't have the money, you're going to find a way to come up with it. Because at the end of the day, you know, getting a Ferrari for like 10 grand is a steal. You know, you can flip it, you can actually make more money, etc. So in that context, I think on depending on the offer for the individual, it's good to hold price and actually just open up the conversation more with the individual and say, hey, you know, we're happy to talk about the price, but if I really don't understand how we're solving problems for you, it doesn't really matter. We might not even be the right option or solution for you at this point, right? Now, I also have a second belief around that too. And so in terms of kind of like for us, like how we do the coaching and placement, right? We'll take a lot of calls. We'll talk with individuals who are looking for an opportunity, and depending on levels and skill set and things of this nature, a lot of people will get on and we'll talk about the opportunities. And I'm interviewing people. I want to see if they're going to be a good fit. We're putting people directly on our offers correlated with individuals who are big name influencers in the online space. And so I need to make sure that they're going to go and they're going to be able to mingle within the team, right? They're going to fit the right culture, that they're not going to be a problem child. They're not going to be a headache, because anybody I bring on, I'm stamping my name. You're getting my seal of approval, right? And I'm putting them on our team with influencers, not just the influencers, but also like our team leaders. And so if somebody's not performing, if somebody's not hitting their expected, whether you call it a KPI or margins, right? They look back at me, you know? And so I'm kind of the reflection of who we bring on. But on those calls, depending on how it kind of shifts, we have an investment for the coaching and the placement, right? And so when people find out, it's just like, okay, well, hey, dude, you know, what's the price? I'm not here to like try to close anybody, right? I always see it as we have an opportunity. It's either going to make sense or it's not. And I'll tell people what the price is up front, you know, but at the end of the day, for me, the price is always the easiest thing. The real question is whether or not you actually believe the opportunity, or if you're in sales, whatever it is that the product or the service can do for you can actually do what it's we're talking about. If there's no
That's
level
right.
of alignment there, it's not the thing for you, right? You just go find whatever that is and you go crush it in the space. But in regards to giving price before or after, in any level of call I have now, I don't mind bringing it up or having a conversation around it. If someone's has an open mind, I prefer that. If somebody hears it and then they want to just shut off and like, no, no, thanks, that's fine too. It's not really probably who I'm looking to bring on the team anyways. It kind of works out better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you for sure.
What about you? Because I'm curious. Because I feel like we're somewhat like on opposite ends here. I feel like you're more reserve price, and I feel like I'm more open to it. But I'm also understand depending on the context of a call, or you might want to withhold it, or you might want to bring it up sooner.
Yeah, no, it's I also probably have a couple of trains of thought, but I think the train of thought that I lean a little bit more towards is definitely shying away from giving out a price.
Yeah,
not really taking into consideration the type of offer, but at the same time, still making sure that what we have is even in alignment with what they're
correct.
looking for, right? So, and if the person doesn't want to have the call, then to me it's like, okay, cool. Hey, I'm just going to move on to the next one, right? There's plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty of people that want to talk to me. So you got to, at the end of the day, have an abundance mindset, right? When you're in sales, because if you do come and fall with the scarcity mindset, I think, that'll put you in a bad spot. Yeah, for sure. So I think I'm a big believer in letting people know, like, there could be a potential here for you to be able to get in, specifically talking about a coaching plus placement option. But I wouldn't know because I haven't even had the opportunity to talk to you and even see if this is a good fit. To your point,
Correct.
Christian, like, what if the person is just not a fit for what we're looking for? And we've had plenty of conversations with people that are not a fit, who have plenty of money they're willing to throw around, but are we willing to take it becomes the question. And
No.
oftentimes, if the person's not the right fit, we're not looking to take it. And that's because of the classic old kind of analogy. It's like, dude, if you can bring the wrong person in the right organization, it can quickly spread the negativity, the scarcity, the bad mindset. And that's certainly not the type of culture that we operate with here at One Call Closers. And we do want only people that can fit right into the culture, fit right into the mindset, the skill sets, the habits, right? Everything that we're looking for. And if that is of something that's in alignment, to your point, dude, it's like price, it becomes the easy thing, right?
Correct.
And at the same time, I don't know of any company out there that has any type of, performance guarantees where you get that deposit back and it's not necessarily a fee, right? So it's obviously up to the individual, and they're going to be the X factor for executing. And that's going to depend on how hungry, coachable, and willing to take action they are. But man, like, I'm not a big believer in giving the price out. And if the person doesn't necessarily want to have the call, then I'm okay with it, right? But that's only because I operate with an abundant mindset, right? Now, can someone not feel that way about it? Sure, they can feel like, oh man, like I just lost this lead. And they just feel like they were attached to that outcome, which is a lot of the times that I see a lot of people are so attached to the outcome that they feel like they need to go out of their way and they need to sell and they need to close. And it's like more about making sure we're getting the right fit.
Correct.
And the way we do that is having a solid framework, right? And guys, anyone on this episode right now that's like, what is these guys' framework, right? They've taken over 250,000 calls. If you want the sales framework that we've used to take over 250,000 calls and have had a ton of success with it, then you want to get into our school community, the Closers Network, and we'll give it to you for free. And it's in the classroom section. You can click on it, you can access it, and we simplify everything for you. So it doesn't have to be complicated because, like, I'm sure Christian can attest to this, guys. There's a lot of people that complicate sales and make it a lot harder than it needs to be. And you definitely don't need to go that route. You can simplify it. And what I found is simple is profound. So to answer, since you asked me, dude, I think I would shy away personally from giving price out because I want to, number one, make sure that the person's a good fit. And then number two, I want to make sure that I can properly deliver a ton of value so that if that was of any hesitancy, if the financial situation or barrier was of any of hesitancy, I want to deliver enough value for that person to know, to your point, that 10,000 Ferrari is worth really 100,000. So they're going to feel like they're going to have to do whatever it takes to come up with that, because
Right.
it's just going to make too much sense. Now, of course, that takes the right person on the right car with the right skill sets, right? With the right attitude to make that happen. And so that is another important piece, is, how developed your skill sets are and how well are you able to navigate a conversation, because it is very easy to let the prospect take control of the call and the situation if you don't have the experience, and you're not dialed
I've
in.
seen that actually with some of my team members, where individuals come in, they try to take control of the call, right? Again, hence why we have frameworks, so we can kind of regain control and we know where we're supposed to be at in the call. And what I'll say to this too is a comment. I have a saying, right? Make it make sense, but you also have one, and yours is, and I don't know if it's yours or if you got it from Trish, but is everything works, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is the style that you operate, Mike, is this one that's natural to you, right? Which is like, for you, you stick within it. It's going to be comfortable conversation, and you're going to be totally fine within it. For me, I've got flexibility on both of those sides. I can do it either or. I did have a conversation once with somebody, just thinking about this. We got down to, and we talked about the price earlier in the call, right? And they're like, well, so you just hit me with it. What's the price? And I say, dude, I said, well, you're in sales, right? And he's like, yeah. I said, okay. I said, I can give you the number. I have no problem giving you the numbers. That's totally fine. I said, but you understand, right? If that's going to be the value you're operating off of, without me actually having a conversation and we figure out if that's actually my lines for you. I was like, I'm willing to do it. I'll tell you right now. I said, or do you want to see what the actual value looks like? And again, open-minded individual was like, you know what? He's like, you're right. You're right. He goes, we'll talk about the numbers later. He goes, let me see if it's something I even actually want to get into. And I think that kind of comes down to the closer. Are you someone, to your point, who can actually regain control of the conversation? That's not an easy thing to do. And so again, all that stuff kind of comes from how you develop and establish rapport, right? Me and the guy, we had a great connection. I have a great connection with just about everybody I meet, if I'm being honest, unless there's somebody who's really, really hard-headed, right? Those individuals, are probably not going to bring them on, whether they have the money or not. Because again, I bring them in and they're not looking to grow. If someone's not looking to grow, this is not the organization to be a part of as we continue to scale and grow. That's right. You have to have that mindset. I mean, I look at Rich, I look at you, Trish, Ian, Terrence, myself, like from the top down to our closers. Everyone's investing into their growth, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're not going to fit within that model, you're not the right fit for the company, right? Essentially. It's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and what I heard you say in the beginning of this when you started it was that guy was open-minded, and I think you're saying is it just worked perfect. Hey, let's get on the phone to see if it's going to make sense. Can I make it make sense?
I can make anything make sense, Mike.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. No, but that's the reality of it, guys, does it make sense for the individual? Does it align with what they're looking for? And if it does, right, but they're just a little bit scared or a little bit hesitant, well, as long as you know that they want to do it, it aligns with what they're looking for, can they make it happen becomes the next question. And that's the next move, right? But it's got to make sense. If it don't make sense, it don't make sense, right? And so the only way to find out, in my opinion, if it truly makes sense, is not going to be over a text message. It's not going to be over email back and forth or text message back and forth. It's going to be getting on a live call and giving yourself the opportunity to talk to an individual, right?
No, I agree.
Yep. Sweet. Well, there you have it, folks. We wanted to just talk about really quick whether or not you should or should not give out price. What are your thoughts? We're curious. Throw it in the comments below, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're watching it maybe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can definitely jump on our YouTube and throw it in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let Christian know what your thoughts are. Would you give price beforehand or would you not? I'm kind of curious, and Christian's, I think, curious to hear what you guys have to say about that.
I'd be very, very curious to see what people have to say. And I think partly because within the sales, I mean, it always comes right, kind of. And again, I hold the value and the belief too. But you should hold price towards the end if you can't deliver the value. But I think it's going to come down to the closers and their skill sets as well. But I also can dance around with introducing a price, because at the end of the day, if I don't think what I'm going to do is actually going to help you, I'm not going to sell it to you anyways. Right. But if the person's open to the conversation, which I can do that part pretty easy, have a conversation. we can explore things. In which case, then actually I get to the end and price isn't even an issue because we know that the value's there, and it's not like it's something that also kind of feels like it's coming out of left field for them either. It's like, dang, you know what? Okay, well now I've had time to warm up to this. What is the actual number? Which again, guys, there's a lot of ways to make that simple and easy. Whether it's just putting it on a credit card or leveraging some level of finance. Most of the investments in anything in today's day and age, they've got all these crazy finance options, which I think is kind of cool, but also I think it's made it simpler for, how do I say it, for closers to not be as good. Like when I first got into this industry, like we didn't have financing. You know, when I was selling a $15,000 or $20,000 package, that person was committed because they were putting that across like 3 or 4 or 5 different credit cards sometimes, you know. And so the financing, I think, creates a lot more options. So again, the money should always be the easiest part. It's whether or not what you're doing can actually solve a problem for somebody.
Dang, and that's got to be a whole nother episode I'm going to have you ask you to come back on, is specifically the finance piece of it. Because just like you, when I started, I also did not have, till today, I don't think I've ever sold anything, maybe other than 1 or 2 people here and there with finance options in the last 12 months. I know Eddie is one of them, but other than Eddie Ernst, I don't know of anybody else that comes to mind. And so, but that's a whole different topic of conversation we're going to save for another episode, guys. And on that note, we're curious, what do you have to think? Should you give price or should you not? And then also let us know while you're at it, what topic do you want to hear us here at the Closers Network talk about next and tackle for you? So that being said, Christian, Mr. Fox, Chubbs, I appreciate you coming on, dude. As always, thank you so much for delivering a ton of value. Your wisdom is always appreciated, guys. And by the way, guys, if you're out there right now, you're like, man, how do I get more involved in these guys' community for completely free? Make sure you click the second link in the description below, and you'll have an opportunity to join our school. And if you're someone that's like, man, I want to work for this sales agency and I want to actually be a part of this, then definitely click the first link in the description below, guys, and you can schedule an interview, potentially hop on the phone with Christian right here. So you may end up on the other end with Christian, guys, or somebody from his team. So click that first link in the description below if you're looking to schedule an interview and see if our sales agency and the offers we represent are a perfect fit for you. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you. We'll see you on the next Closers Network episode. Peace.